I've just been so used to anxiety my whole life that sometimes I forget that some people don't have anxiety and that they don't understand what that feels like or like how that manifests. One person recently has started asking me like, can you explain to me like if I say I'm anxious, what do I feel like? How does that feel? And I really appreciate that they ask, like, tell me about it because I want to understand. And then I'm also like so jealous that this person doesn't know what anxiety feels like. But I thought to share a bit about what anxiety feels like in the body, because for me, anxiety is more of a physical experience rather than a mental experience, if that makes sense. Like, obviously there's the racing thoughts and the doom spiraling of like worst case scenario and intrusive thoughts and like just visualizing all these worst case things that can happen. Like your brain doesn't stop just constantly thinking of the worst things that could happen. And that part is obviously very shitty. I do not recommend. But I think for me, the physical symptoms of anxiety sometimes are a bigger of a burden. So physically, I start feeling like this. Then there's chest tightness and pain. So that's one of the symptoms that I get quite often. Over here, I get like, and it feels like I can't breathe. It's like a light hyperventilation, and I have to constantly remind myself to breathe, to go like, because it just feels like I can't get enough air into my lungs. And this is not like, oh, I'm feeling like that and then I breathe once and then it's gone. No, it's like that for the whole day or 4 hours. Then it's the heart palpitations, and the worse your anxiety gets or the more into fight or flight you go, more hectic it becomes. When I'm really anxious, I can literally hear my heart pound. My husband could also once hear my heart pound and he was like, what is happening to you? Because you could hear like doof, 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 doof. And then I get like really jittery, so I feel like I'm shaking and my whole body feels tingly. I sometimes get nauseous from anxiety. I get a lot of stomach ache, so that's just like one of my defaults. Like the chest tightness, struggling to breathe, and the stomach aches are like classic Stefani anxiety symptoms. Another one, feeling like dizzy or lightheaded. I don't experience that one as often, but I know there are a lot of people who do. Losing your appetite or increased appetite. I think more often it's like losing your appetite. For me, it sometimes feels like this part of my throat closes up. So like, it's just like, I can't eat anything or drink anything because it just feels like there's something like closing it here that I can't just take anything in. Another thing that's really fun is diarrhea. How to say the word. So basically just like bowel movements and intense bowel movements if you have like these bursts of anxiety especially. And I remember when I was graduating, there were some people meeting each other for the first time that day in my family that had me freaking stressed. It was everyone coming together for this graduation and I was like, I wasn't prepared for this, and I literally was on the toilet for the whole day before my graduation, and then I had to go to the graduation and just make sure everything's okay. Another one is headaches, tensions, muscle tensions. I get that a lot. Jaw pain and tensions because of the clenching of the teeth. Sweating, that's another fun one. Even in like normal meetings at work, I sweat every single time, literally every single time. And then on all the other days of my life that are just normal and at home, I don't. So TMI, sorry. Sweaty palms, I think, is also something that a lot of people experience. Then there's also like difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep. Sometimes that's also because of like a lot of the intrusive thoughts can come at night when you try to go to bed. It's waking up not feeling rested, like feeling exhausted from the moment that you wake up. It's getting nightmares, having restless sleep, all that kind of things. Anxiety, sometimes if it lingers for too long, it can switch over into dissociation. You start feeling a bit more detached from reality, or like observing yourself from a third point of view, and you're just seeing yourself operate in the world and you don't feel like you're actually in that reality. Fidgeting. So a lot of people fidget. I fidget a lot as well. A lot of people do it. And whether it's like doing this with your legs or something with your foot, or fidgeting with a ring or with hands or nails or anything, it's almost like a self-soothing kind of mechanism. Also just like feeling tense and feeling on edge and feeling like the worst thing's about to happen constantly. I don't feel all the symptoms all the time. There are just some symptoms that just are like, most days they are there. And then depending on the level of anxiety on that day or in that situation, the symptoms might differ from time to time. You might have certain symptoms that appear way more frequently than others. Like I said, for me, it's the chest tightness, the heart palpitations, the struggling to breathe. Like that is my, I think, main thing. And anxiety is something that can interfere with your life so much, and it can make small everyday things feel like big freaking stressful things. Anxiety is different in stress in the way that, and this is like explaining it from a super simple point of view, stress is like a natural response to a natural stressful thing. And you can kind of say, cool, this is the stressor and this is the stress that you experience. And the higher the stressor, the higher the stress. As this goes up and down, both go up and down at the same level for people who don't have anxiety. And people who have anxiety, the fear and the stress you experience, the anxiety that you experience, is kind of out of proportion with what the stressor actually is. So whether that's a confrontation or forgetting something or some big event or something that's happening or like pressure at work or whatever, the proportion is different. And anxiety makes you think that this thing is the worst thing that can happen. That's one of the biggest differences. It's just the proportion of the stressor and the stress that you experience is way detached, and it kind of doesn't make sense, especially to someone who doesn't understand anxiety. A lot of people think like anxiety is this mental experience, but for me, like it's so much more of a physical burden sometimes than it is a mental burden. Okay, this is the Stefanie Low Show. If you like cool chats about mental health and experiences with anxiety and bipolar and complex trauma, because those are the things that I have, then this is the space for you. We also love to talk about trying our best to be good people and having empathy and learning to become better humans for ourselves and for the world around us. And if that's your vibe, then this is your space. Welcome to the Stefanie Low Show community. We try to talk about the things that are often